Welcome to Redmayne. My name's Tom Mahon. I'm the head cutter here. That's Nigel, our dog. I'm just going to have a little chat to you today about dress waistcoats. What do I mean by them? It's the waistcoat that you wear in a black tie, specifically. That's the most common one. A lot of people don't wear them. They prefer, so they promise me, that they'll wear a cummerbund, because you should wear either a cummerbund or a waistcoat. And if you do a little bit of examination on the internet, you'll see there's quite a few different styles, but we only do one style here, and I would like to show you what that is and why we do it that way. But I'm going to put the cat amongst the pigeons here, because those of you who follow me on Redmayne on Instagram know that I'm a big fan of Lester's Golden Bale. Really nice stuff. And I never get a suit. And a while ago, when I had this very posh event in London where I was very kindly given the title of Master Tailor, I managed to get myself a suit made, and it was Lumbs Golden Bale, and it was really nice. And Mr. Dunsford and everybody at Harrison's looked after me, so give them their due. But there is another really good cloth out there that I do like, and it's this stuff here, okay? QZ Super 150s from Huddersfield Fine Worsteds. And Mr. Wheeler, Jeff, who some of you may know, was here the other day. And we had a couple of drinks together. And I will say, this is definitely worth looking at if you want something special that works, okay? That's what I like about Lumbs Golden Bale. It's special, it feels special, it looks special, but it works because bespoke tailoring is very traditional. So these newfangled fancy cloths from Italy at 7.5 ounces, just, I don't like them. This stuff, this is 11 ounces, sweet spot weight, Super 150s. It has the most gorgeous texture and control. It controls itself, okay? It's got a beautiful bounce back to it. You can lay it up and it works really well. And the cameraman has a green suit made out of this. Sounds a bit scary, but I promise you it looks good. And it's super durable, really is. So I know there's a lot of cloth merchants, there's a lot of cloths, but these are two of my favorites. QZ Super 150s from Huddersfield Fine Worsteds and Lumbs Golden Bale from Harrison's. Very similar qualities, but they really make into something special. This we're cutting into a dinner suit. That's why I'm taking the long way to tell you. We're going to discuss dress waistcoats. So I better get on with it and show you it. So here at Redmayne, we, the company, whichever way you want to look at it, we're quite set in our ways on how we like to do things. And that doesn't mean that we're all stick in the muds. It means that we've been here for a long time. We've looked at all of the different things, and we're always looking at all of the different styles. And we find our style seems to fit us best and seems to keep our customers happy. So I just want to point out a little thing to you, which is a little bit of a pet hate for me as I see it around. When it comes to wearing a dinner suit, black tie, tuxedo, it is nice to wear a waistcoat, in our opinion. And you will say, well, you would say that because then you charge for a waistcoat. Maybe the case, but we think it's better. You should always wear a waistcoat or a cummerbund. A lot of people don't, and it's incorrect, okay? Unless you're wearing a double-breasted dinner suit, you should be covering up this join here, because what's really bad is sometimes you get dinner suits with belt loops on and things like that, okay? You can buy some off the pit, and that's just all wrong. So really, you can buy, I know we can't all afford bespoke suits, you can buy a nice suit off the peg, and if it fits you pretty well, that's great, but you should always try to wear a cummerbund, or even better still, it comes with a waistcoat. Now, generally speaking, when we cut a dinner suit for somebody, our first suggestion, and seems to be the most popular, is the classic single-breasted, one button with a peak lapel. Why do we like it? Well, it looks good, okay? It has one button, it's a lovely V shape, it's very manly. Am I saying all the wrong things? But it does, it emphasizes that V, James Bond, okay? We get that nice long line, and it fastens in the waist, and it looks gorgeous. And there might even be some images of me dressed like that, okay? Now, the waistcoats, there are different styles of waistcoats that get done. Some people like to wear a fantastically outrageous one, which is good, it's a bit of fun, you know. Sometimes people wear a black watch, they'll do all sorts. Excuse me, particularly cough. But the classic for us is what we call a shawl collar lapel single-breasted waistcoat, which only has 3 buttons. Okay, the 3 buttons I think is important. It might stretch to 4 if you're that big, but we like to keep it lower, because if you think about it, we're trying to keep this elongated, this nice V shape. When you open it, which you can, okay, because it looks nice with the waistcoat there, you want to keep that opening again. So if you Google dress waistcoats or tuxedo waistcoats, you'll see a lot of them are quite high, and that looks awful. Okay, you should wear, I like studs or a fly front, 2 or 3 studs there, and you need to show that bib, okay? Because what's the point in making all this long, elegant lines to put a waistcoat that's a traditional waistcoat's here, and then put a dress one about here? It looks more like a girdle than a dress waistcoat. So how do we do it? Well, I'm going to show you. As you know, our patterns are all done freehand, so this is the pattern I've done. We have quite a big wedding this summer, so I need to get my skates on, but I want to show you how I mark it in and how it looks. Okay, I'll try to talk you through this. Here is a waistcoat pattern that I've cut, the 4-part, okay? Ignore this is part of the roll system, so I'm keeping this well out of the way. So we're going to do this for a fitting, so we need an inlay on the bottom, we need an inlay on the front edge in case we need to let that out, and an inlay on the top. And if you look at this pattern, it is a traditional 6-button single-breasted waistcoat, okay? And it's got 6 buttons, and the bottom one is what we call bottom in points. It's not designed to close. Okay, so first and foremost, what I do is I just mark round my single-breasted pattern, okay? That I just put as a line. So I've marked around it, but I haven't fully marked around this area because we're not going to use that area. Now then, what we do is we look at this, we mark our inlay at the top, and we can put a mark on the bottom. Now then, we have to think what's going on here. I've tried to draft this in my best interpretation of where everything should look balanced. On a traditional waistcoat, the bottom button would be here in points, but on a dress waistcoat, we don't do that, okay? They've all got to fasten. So we, just as you get in that V, we mark our first button. Now, I have the benefit of knowing how tall this fellow is. So I know really he wants 3 buttons and 3 only, about 1.25 inches apart. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Then I need a little balancing gap so you can get your fingers in and fasten that top button. Then I need the width of my shawl, and then what I need to do is visually get a nice shape on here. So we'll mark that collar. There's my neck point, okay? We'll mark that collar there. And then just using your eye and using the chalk, put a really lovely shape in there, okay? And then from here, with a slight lift, we'll strike that in. Okay. That's producing our shawl. Now then, the neck point here, this is the neck point where you would normally have a V on your waistcoat, okay? It would come and fasten there quite traditionally. What we have to do is we have to mark this line in and obviously cut the front away for this nice long look, okay? But what's important here, and I'll get that cameraman to lean in this way to show you because I'm going to hide everything, is from the neck point here, you can see the original line where a traditional waistcoat would be. But what you've got to do is you've got to get a nice lift on that and spring it round and turn that fellow in. Okay? This is really important because otherwise, if you don't get that shape, you have an opening that gapes and it makes the bib look awful. You've got to get that nice curve, and what if it's done properly, you don't see that curve, it just seems to look natural. Okay, so we get that nice shape in there, but you can see this is all cut away. So once I've got that looking visually balanced, I can just put my chest dart in there. Okay, and unlike a traditional waistcoat, it will only ever have one welt pocket. Okay, believe it or not, I have seen them put two in. That's a no-no. So bring that camera over and have a look. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Now, my little pet here, as I say, if you look on the internet or you look at what some people do, they'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons about that far apart, and they bring this right up high. Why do they bring it up high? Well, it doesn't look good, so they didn't do that. Maybe it's because they get the coverage and it's easier to get right. I don't know, because this has to be quite specific. When you open a waistcoat up that much, it needs to be long enough to cover your trousers and make it work. The opening needs to be just the right amount to show your studs, and it's got to look nice. You've got to get that shape in there. So it's harder. So sometimes when I'll adjust this, when it comes to the fitting, we might take some length from the top or we might take it from the bottom, but it's basically moving the whole thing around to where it should be. And it makes a difference. And the beauty of this is, of course, most dress trousers, most that we do, you wear with braces. And what you cannot afford to do is take a dinner suit off when this party's just turning into a great flurry of fun and everybody's dancing, and run around in your braces like Wall Street, okay? Have a waistcoat on, you're going to look fantastic, and you can dance and you can entertain and you can fling your coat over the back of the chair. So a waistcoat is a really good idea, and when you have that coat open, we try to cut a dress coat a little bit straighter, and what I mean by that is this old cord of mine, when I wear it, look at the edges, they're quite close together, and it means I can just fasten it easy because it's a cozy old comfy coat. But when we do a dress coat, we cut it a little bit straighter, so it's a bit more open. It naturally wants to be open, and then you've got your waistcoat there and your bib and your nice hand-tied bow. How nice is that?